Welcome to the course on data communication and networking, week 6, session 1. In previous session, students learned some part of digital to digital conversion where we have discussed line encoding and its related to schemes. In this session, students will learn the block coding, scrambling techniques, and rest other stuffs just like analog to digital conversion and serial and parallel transmission. The block coding is developed to ensure synchronization as well as it provides inherent error detections. None of the method till so far provides inherent error detection. In block coding, it changes the block of m bits into block of n bits, where n is larger than m. So block coding is referred as MB/NB encoding technique. So in this sense, we can say the block coding method, it is also known as substitution method, where m bits are substituted with n bits. Block coding normally provides 3 steps. The first one is division in a block of m bits. Then the second step is substitution. M bits are replaced with n bits, and then the lastly generated n bits are combined together to generate output stream. In the division step, as already said, the sequence of bits divided into a group of n bits. For example, 4B, 5B encoding methods. There are other encoding methods too. We'll see in example. The original bit sequence is divided into 4 bit. In substitution step, we substitute m bit group with n bit group. In 4B, 5B encoding, we substitute 4 bit group with 5 bit group. Finally, the last step is combination. All group bits are combined to form a string. The new string has more bits than original string because m is less than n. This is a process how the m bits are converted to n bits. So this is a sequence of streams 10, 110 and so on, and those are divided into number of m bits. This is first m bit, this second m bit, this is last group of m bits, and this first group of m bits are replaced with the n bits. So there is a table, substitution table is available. What m bits needs to be replaced with what kind of n bits, that we'll see in one example, 4B, 5B example. So this substitution is carried out for second group, third group and last group as well. And lastly it generates, if we combine all n bits groups, then it becomes output stream. So this block coding method will not work alone. We need to use one of the method which we have seen in line encoding along with the block coding. So block coding, what it provides us, it substitutes m bits with n bits. Then after we have to use the line encoding method which we saw earlier. So this is an example of block coding where 4 binary and 5 binary, means 4 binary are converted with 5 binary patterns. And this 4B, 5B method, it is also in combination of, it is applied in combination with NRZ-I. 4B, 5B overcome synchronization problems by ensuring that there won't be more than 3 consecutive zeros in stream. So that 4B to 5B conversion ensures that there won't be more than 3 consecutive zeros. This is the graph where the sender wants to send sequence of ones and zeros. Those sequences ones and zeros are given to 4B, 5B encoding methods. The output of the encoding method will be stream of bits. So this is known as substitution method. And then NRZ-I encoding method is applied to transfer the sequence of ones and zeros on communication link. The reverse signal is applied over here at receiver side. NRZ decoding is applied. Then 4B, 5B decoding, means desubstitution is applied to generate original string as a 101011. These are the encoding sequence for 4 bits to 5 bit. Let's say 10101110. This is input stream which has to be decoded, which has to be encoded as 4B, 5B. So first step is divided into groups. So we are dividing into a 4 bits group. Lastly, we put as a 0 to make a boundary. So these first 1010 bits are replaced with 5 bits. So 1010 combination are replaced with 10110. 10110. Next 1110 bit combination 1110 is here, is replaced with 1110. 1100 bits will be replaced with 11010. So this becomes output string. After substitution, we will get this string. Another method is 8-bit NV method, and this method shows implementation of 8-bit NV method. How can we do? Instead of converting 8 bits into 10 bits, we may use a combination of any encoding method. In this case, the examples are given. The 8-bit blocks, let's say 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 1. These 8 bits are divided into 5 bits and 3 bits. So first 5 bits are given over here. The next 3 bits are given over here. And upper side we applied 5B 6B encoding method. The bottom side we applied 3B 4B encoding method, and the output will be combined together by disparity controller, and disparity controller will create 10-bit block. So 8-bit block as input, 10-bit block as output. We can also combine 4B 5B methods 2 times. 4B 5B method 2 times over here to different blocks, and input 8 bits are divided into 4 bits. 4 bits are given to upper side as well as next 4 bits are given to lower side, and it will generate 10 bits block. This 8-bit NV method. Now let's see how does scrambling work. Scrambling is similar to the black coding method, but it overcomes certain problems which exist in digital transmission. In scrambling, long 0 levels pulses are substituted with combination of other levels to achieve synchronization. So we saw earlier in line encoding methods, certain methods are having long sequence of zeros or long sequence of ones. In this scrambling method, it provides solution of long zeros. So if in input stream there are long zeros, then it will be replaced by substitute combination of zeros and ones or positive or negative for such a way that it won't have a DC component or it won't have a baseline skewing. It modifies AM rule to include scrambling. So we saw in AMI that whenever there is a 1, it inverts the voltage of inverts voltage with respect to previous one. This is, let's say the first bit is positive voltage, 0 will be replaced by a 0. 0 again it's replaced will be represented by 0. Next one, it will invert the signal of previous one. So this is the AMI method. But in AMI method, if there are long sequence of zeros, then it suffers from DC component as well as baseline wandering. So this scrambling method modifies AM rule to include scrambling. Let's see how it can be done. There are 2 methods available, B8ZS, and next one is HDB3. This is pictorial view. How can we modify AMI? So this modify AMI encoding method is available over here. That's nothing but substitution with AMI, and then after that the signals will be sent to digital transmission line to be sent over to be sent to the receiver. So this is an example of B8ZS where the 8 0 substitutions is commonly applied, and it is used in North America mostly. B8ZS, what it does, if it finds consecutive zeros, 8 consecutive zeros in a sequence, it replaces with some patterns. So if you look at the pattern value, this is positive voltage, negative, negative, positive. If we take average, it becomes 0. And rest others are 0, that's why average would be 0. Same way, negative, positive, positive, negative, rest are 0. So these 8-bit patterns results into 0 DC, 0 average value, average voltage. So it won't have a DC component, so it will not suffer from self-synchronized, not the DC component and baseline monitoring. So those problems can be avoided over here. Next method is HDB3, high density bipolar 3-0, is commonly used outside of North America. In case of HDB3, it focuses on the 4 consecutive zeros. 4 consecutive zeros, where the previous method was focusing on 8 consecutive zeros. So those 4 consecutive zeros can be replaced either 000V or B00V. Let's see what is these combinations. We'll come back to this slide, rule number 1 and 2. So this is first substitution, second substitution, third substitution. But before that, look at this. These are the 4 consecutive zeros. 4 consecutive zeros and input stream. So this is first 4 consecutive zeros, second 4 consecutive zeros, this is third consecutive zeros. So in first consecutive zeros, if it is found first consecutive zeros, it replaced with positive 0, 0 and V. For second substitution, it will replace with 0, 0, 0 and V only. So it won't have a positive over here, but this V gets negative over here. And then for third substitution, it will repeat the B000V. So let's look at the rule. If the number of non-zero pulses after the last substitution is odd, the substitution pattern will be 000V. So in this example, we can see the 00V. This is the starting of odd. This is odd because this is first substitution is over. So odd has been completed. This is start of even. So if odd number of substitutions are over, we have to replace 4 consecutive zeros with 000V. That's mentioned over here. And same way for even, we have to replace with B00V. So in the first substitution, which are declared, which are known as after even, so that's why it is replaced by B00V. B000V. So these are the two methods of scrambling technique, which is similar to substitution method. Now let's continue with analog to digital conversions. Till so far, we have discussed about only the digital to digital conversion, where the data was digital and the signal was also digital. Now let's see what happens when the data is analog and we want to send it to digital. So in short, this is data and online we want to send digital signal. The method, very well known and very famous method, is pulse code modulation. So this is a process of pulse code modulation. The analog signal is given to PCM encoder. PCM encoder are having 3 steps. The first step is sampling, second step is encoding, third step is quantizing, and after quantizing we will get the digital data. So analog signals will be converted into digital data. So let's see all the steps: sampling, encoding and quantization. But before that, let's see some knowledge related to quantizations and sampling theory. In this diagram, you can see there are 3 steps. There are 3 different sampling methods. This is ideal sampling, natural sampling, and flat top sampling. So ideal sampling, this is TS. That's a sampling size or sampling duration. TS is sampling duration. So sampling duration is fixed, and at fixed interval will take us measurement of voltage. So that method is known as sampling. So over here TS is wider than the natural sampling, where we can see these lines are curved. These 2 values are measured, they are connected via some curved line. And this is third kind of method is known as flat top sampling, where when we start measuring a point, the next point will connect them together with some flat voltage. But out of these 3, we'll use this ideal sampling method. So what must be the sampling rate? Or if this is the analog signal, what must be the value of TS? What must be the value of TS? Or in the other sense, how many samples we should take? Over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 samples are generated. So how many samples should be there such a way that at receiver end we can regenerate the same signal? The problem over here in analog to digital conversions, when we transfer at these sides we are having analog signals, these sides we have a digital signals, and at the receiver sides we must have to generate exactly the analog signals what is being sent by the sender. There should not be any deviation or skew is allowed over here. It has to be nearer to same signals which is sent by sender. So Nyquist has specified one theorem to reproduce original signal at receiver side. One necessary condition is that sampling rate must be at least twice the highest frequency. So if you look at these two examples where this is low pass signals and this is band pass signals, in low pass signals frequency, minimum frequency means low frequency will be 0 and the maximum frequency could be f max signal. So in this case, according to Nyquist theorem, the Nyquist rate means sampling rate must be the twice than highest frequency. So f max is the highest frequency, so 2 into f max, that would be the sampling rate. And for band pass signals, it has to be highest frequency, that's f maximum. If the bandwidth is given, we cannot estimate. There has to be given the maximum frequency. So sampling rate depends on the maximum frequency, it does not depend on the bandwidth. In the case of low pass signals, if bandwidth is given, we can figure it out f max, because one of the frequency is 0. The minimum frequency is 0. That's why if you have a 200 kilohertz, then the f max would be the 200 kilohertz in low pass signal. This is not true in case of band pass signals. So in band pass signals, we must have to have the maximum frequency. So same rule if we apply over here to find out the sampling rate. The sampling rate equal to 2 into f max. Why it is twice? Let's see there are three examples. The first examples, let's say this is a 1 second. So this signal sampling rate, we took the sampling rate equal to 2f, twice than frequency. If this frequency is 1, this is completed in 1 second. So we have to take reading at 2 different sample interval. So that's meaning of twice. So we have to take 2 samples. So this we took the first sample over here, the second sample over here. This is 4f example where the same we took 1, 2, 3 and 4 samples. At time t equal to 0, time t equal to the 1 by 4, time t equal to 1 by 2, time t equal to 3 by 4. So we have 4 samples. In this case, we have only fs equal to f, means normal frequency. So if we take this way, we can understand well. This is first sample, this is second sample, this is third sample, and so on. So if you regenerate the originals, regenerate from those sampling, if you draw a dot and if you connect all those dots, we will get this line. The same way, if you connect the oversampling, we will get this graph, and over here we will get this graph. So we can say over here, this won't give you original. This will look like the original, and we can regenerate signals by this 4f or oversampling. So if sampling is higher than 2f, then we could generate our original signals at receiver side. After sampling rate, we need to perform quantization. The quantizations, why we require quantizations, that depends on the sampling rate and the sampling amplitude voltage, what we are getting after sampling. So as a result of sampling, series of pulses with amplitude values between maximum and minimum amplitudes we will get after sampling rate. The set of amplitudes can be infinite with non-integer values between two limits, maximum and minimum. These values cannot be used in encoding process, so that's why the quantization process is followed to overcome this infinite value. So by taking example, let's understand what is quantization. So let's take one example. This is minimum value minus 20, maximum value is plus 20. And we want to decide, we have to decide first how many levels we require. Let's take 8 levels we want to quantize. This means the delta equal to 5 volt means minus 20 plus minus 20 upon the number of levels. So minus 48, and if we take a more, so minus 5, it will be 5. So delta would be 5. Delta 5 means minus 20 to plus 20. We are dividing into 8 number of zones, and each zone is separated by a 5 volt. So that we can see in this diagram that these first, second, third, fourth, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, there are 8 zones, and each zone is having 5 voltage. So this is normalized PAM value. So minus 0.61 is divided by 5. That means, so all these values what we are getting over here, first it will be divided by delta value. So this will be divided by delta 5. Over here, this is, in this case, this previous example, delta is equal to 5. So minus 6.1 upon 5, we will get 1.22. Similar way, 7.5, 16.2, if we divide all this value, we will get this value. So this is known as normalized PAM value. Then, to further smooth out or to reduce the number of these discrete values like 0.22, 0.50, 0.24, 0.94, we can perform some normalization process. So what is normal in that case? If any point is between falls under that region, let's say minus 1.22 falls under this region. So this region will have a value 1 and 2, and we must, if it's between 1 and 2, we have to take average of that. So the average is minus 1.50. Similar way, this is 1.50, so replace by 1.50. 3.24 becomes 3.50. 3.94 becomes 3.50. 2.20 becomes 2.50. So we will have a similar value, means we will have discrete values over here, 50, 50, 0.50, 0.50 in all these cases. So now what we have done, from infinite we are going with some finite. So this is longer range we have mapped to some shorter range, and shorter range may be the infinite shorter range. The number of values may be the combination of values may be infinite. From those infinite combinations, we reach up to some finite combinations. So that's known as normalized quantized value. And if we subtract this minus 1/50 or normalized quantized value with normalized PM values, we will get normalized error. So this for everyone, we will get the normalized error. And then this is quantized score related to each zone. So this falls under zone number 2. So zone number 2 is having combination 0, 1, 0. Same way, zone number 5, 1, 0, 1, and so on. So how many quantization levels? That depends on what kind of accuracy we want. If you want more accurate, our received signal should be same as the original sender. We must have to go with more number of quantization levels. In earlier case, it was having 8 quantization levels. If we reach up to 16 quantization levels, we will have a better accuracy. So that depends on what kind of accuracy we want. Quantization error normally will range from minus delta by 2 and with plus delta by 2. This is a smarter way of quantizations where if our range is too much higher, let's say 0 to 1000 volt, 0 to 1000 volt, and majority of voltage are from 700 volt to 1000 volt. So we want accuracy from 700 volt to 1000 volt. From 0 to 7000, none of the points falls under, or voltage level falls under 0 to 700. and we want accuracy at 700 to 1000. So our signals look like this. It is going in this direction, it is going in this direction, although it's analog, and majority of the voltage levels falls under 700 to 1000. So let's say this is a 1000. So the zone quantization is applied, that is non-uniform zone quantization. Till so far what we have discussed, uniform zone quantization. Non-uniform quantization says that this could be a larger space and a larger area, a larger delta, and this we may have a smaller delta over here. So beauty of this one, we will generate the signal accurately at the receiver sides. But the disadvantage or one precaution, both the end has to apply non-uniform with non-similar zones at sender side as well as receiver side. The receiver must know what the sender, what method the sender has applied to create zones. Then and then receiver can generate original signals. Bit rate in this case equal to sampling rate into the number of bits per sample. So sampling rate equal to fs, that's found from Nyquist theorem, and we can use bit and bits to represent each sample value. For example, we want to digitize human voice. What is the bit rate? Assumes 8 bits per sample are used to represent those voltage levels. So human voice, we know very well that the frequency of human voice is 4 kHz. So first we want to find out, according to Nyquist theorem, we can find out sampling rate equal to 2 into highest frequency, f max equal to 4 kHz. So 2 into 4000. So we will get 8000. So this sampling rate equal to 8000 samples. So that 8000 samples means if this is a signal, analog signals, in a 1 second of durations, for 1 second of duration, we do 8000 samples. For each samples, we will have some voltage value. So we will have a such 8000 number of voltage, and for each voltage, we will use 8 bits per sample. So to get the actual bit rate to transmit data, so that 8000 sample has to be multiplied by 8 bits. So this is the answer, sampling rate 4000 according to Nyquist theorem, 8000 samples, and bit rate equal to 8000 and 8 bits to represent one voltage value. So 64,000 bits per second, 64 kbps. Other sides, we can recover these signals using PCM decoder. The PCM decoder will take digital data as input, makes connects and samples, low pass filter is applied, and original signals will be generated. This is data modulation, which is advanced than quantization or sampling rate. PCM finds the value of signal amplitude for each sample. Data modulation finds the change from the previous sample. If the previous sample has a positive voltage, so it goes up. So this follows staircase. So if the current voltage is positive than previous voltage, goes up, goes up, goes up. So over here, it encounters that the previous next bit is lower voltage than previous voltage, go down. So it follows staircase method. Up, then go up, and so on. So this records only delta of current signal with respect to previous signal, whether it is going up or whether it is going down. So implementation of this delta modulation is the comparators are given which compares the existing and previous one, and then it gives delay unit and static marker. Staircase maker will make stair, and delay unit will generate a delay. So it will generate a horizontal line, this will generate a vertical line. So after this combining, this is given to the again comparator, and comparator gives output to this digital data. Let's see the next phase of this topic, the transmission mode. there are basically two ways we can transmit data, parallelly and serially. So data transmission can be done either parallel or serial. And again, serial, there are three types: asynchronous, synchronous, and isochronous. This is parallel transmission, where this is a sender and this is a receiver, and there are 8 communication lines, 1, 2, 3 up to 8, because the sender wants to transmit 8 bits at a time. So 8 wires are required to transmit data in parallel transmission. So which makes this parallel transmission costlier than serial transmission. But advantage is all 8 bits are transmitted parallelly at the same time. In serial transmissions, 1 bit by bits are transmitted over a communication line, which we saw or which we have discussed in line encoding. All these methods transmits 1 bit at a time. So if we have a parallel data generator, from parallel data generator we need to convert into a serial converter. So parallel bits will be converted into serials and it is transmitted over communication line, and the receiver side we require again serial to parallel converter. There are 3 types of transmission. We have seen asynchronous, synchronous, and isochronous. In asynchronous communication, the gap, if we consider this is a data, if you want to send a data, this data will have some boundaries. This is start of frame and this is end of frame. End of frame and this is start of frame. So in this case, it is mentioned, for example, they have taken a 1 bit. There may be 8 bit. There may be group of m bits. Similar way, stop bits can be 1 bit, there can be a 8 bits, or there can be n number of bits which indicates stop or end of the frame. In between start of frame and end of frame there would be data. So this is whole is known as frame, F-R-A-M-E. So that frame, multiple frames are combined, are sent over a single communication line serially. And as asynchronous in nature, those frame contains, this is the dedicated line. The sender and receiver, they are known very well in advance. This is the sender and this is the receiver. Both know each other well in advance. So there is no need of addressing required over here. But the sender has to indicate this is the start of frame and this is the end of frame to the receiver. So there will be a special bit pattern, or 0 is recognized, 0 is put over here and 1 is put over here to indicate end of frame. And in asynchronous nature, both the parties or sender and receiver does not know well in advance what can be the gap between these 2 frames. Gap in the sense whether it's a 1 second or 10 seconds or 1 day. At what time the sender can send, the receiver does not know in advance. So that's why it is known as asynchronous transmission. In synchronous transmission, as opposed to asynchronous transmission, both the party know well in advance at what time sender will send and at what time receiver has to receive. So frame boundaries are fixed and the gap between these 2 frames will be fixed. They are fixed. If sender does not want to send data, still it will send empty frame. So that's a characteristic of synchronous transmission. Synchronous transmission is applied where we require continuous streaming of data from one end to another end without any delay. And asynchronous transmission we can apply where we don't require continuous stream of bits, but whenever we require, we want to transfer data. In that case, asynchronous transmission is required. In conclusion, let's see what are the applications of encoding. At least we have seen where it is applied. Manchester encoding method, it is used in Ethernet. Differential Manchestering, it is used in token ring, local area network. 4B, 5B along with NRZI encoding method, it is used in FDDI, fiber distributed dual interface local area network. And PCM, pulse code modulation, is used in public switch telephony network. Thank you for watching a video.